9. So, let's see. CE chooses to go towards the tomb of the Spider Queen. Once again, they go into this game with the first map choice. That's exactly what they did against SBT yesterday. They chose Towers of Doom there. But Towers of Doom, look at that. It was banned by RPG Tetcher.
Very clever. Banning out one of CE's favorite go-to maps here. Very smart move by RPG. However, one of CE's other best maps, these days at least, the Battlefield of Eternity, is still available. So RPG, if they do end up getting the map choice, or they end up choosing the map choice, will likely target that down in some way.
All right, so it's a game of rotations. It's a game of rushing from one lane to the other, trying to de-push the enemy minion waves as fast as you can so you get control over the turn-in points. And Tetcher, this is not too shabby of a battleground for Medivh, is it?
It is not. It is not. He's able to do great things on this map just in terms of mobility alone. Forget the rest of the protection. Just being able to rotate as effectively as possible.
All right, so are we going to see something new from either of the teams? For CE, because we just want to see how much they can expand their strategy pool, their hero and drafting pool, and for RPG because, quite frankly, if they play the way they did up to this point, they better be prepared, they better have more polished gameplay, or they better show us something that is out of the ordinary to surprise their opponents. Now, the Golden ban already, CE is trying to take away a lot of wave clear, and here goes the Prophet, here goes Medivh, the last Guardian. I do not hate it at all.
It's on the side of RPG, steal it away from CE. Very clever move of RPG as well, though. First time they ran it at all, I believe, was yesterday, so they have played it. I might be wrong on that.
No, I'm pretty sure they did play it in the past, however, to no great success, I believe. And that's quite the issue
for RPG. Hang on, alphabetical. That's going to make my job easier. They have played him once and lost with him once.
Interesting. So that could, of course, be a little bit of an issue. So RPG, like, okay. So here's what really bugged me when we watched RPG yesterday, right? So they came into those games. The drafting was okay. In game number 2, it was a little bit more like a Hero League combo with individually good heroes, but not really forming the best of units. But what really struck me was their lack of coordination sometimes, where especially Sa on that fall set yesterday was oftentimes being really counterproductive to what the rest of his team was trying to do, right? Gusting people so that other abilities would miss. If he hadn't done so, then Timeless could have probably shown a little bit more. So Sa in particular is a hero, or a player, should I say, to be on the lookout for. I really wonder if he's going to be able to step it up today.
Well, Sa is the Medivh player. From what I have been able to find out, the one time they've played it has been Sa doing so. So we're going to have to see if, like you said, he can step up. But they're bringing in the double potential stasis builds, going for a Medivh and a Zeratul coming in here. Add a Chromie to that, and people are going to get time stopped.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of stasis available at the moment for RPG. Now they should make sure to not overlap those abilities, obviously. Medivh could even go for a Polybomb now, to be honest, now that the VP has been locked down. So they basically exclude any forms of potential misplays with a VP and the Leyland Seal hitting at the same time or at the same targets. So Polybomb could be a thing. Now, they need a warrior. RPG is probably going to go for something like Diablo, and yeah, that's exactly why they shut it out, because they themselves know exactly how devastating an Apocalypse Leyland Seal combo or even a VP can be.
Yeah, very sensibly, like you said, they have the experience, they know the terror. With Diablo banned out, they are free to, if they want to, go for something like Gyarash. However, RPG have definitely done their research against CE. This seems to be a theme with RPG. They always have done their research. It's then just executing the actual draft itself once they have a potentially preferable draft sometimes, but they ban away the Tracer, another very big Aloufal hero.
Yeah, Aloufal needs to be kept in check. However, he could now just pick the Genji and become a very happy Aloufal, because that is the hero that has earned most of his trophies on the MVP award ranking. I think he might actually be the most successful player in the league right now when it comes to that regard. So him just collecting trophy after trophy after trophy. Is he going to pick that Genji though, or is he going to fall back on something like Cassia, which he has been playing in the past as well?
Yeah, and Cassia in this particular draft would be very interesting. It offers the potential punishment opportunities for Medivh because, of course, the Force Will only lasts a certain amount of time and Ball Lightning could be consistent damage. They're going to save their second damage dealer for the moment, starting off with a Garrosh and a Johanna here.
Okay, so Garrosh and Johanna. One of those heroes offers strong engage, which is normally Garrosh, and the other offers pretty okay wave clear, which is something you need on Tomb of the Spider Queen, and that is Johanna. So they basically provide themselves with several qualities of how they can basically lay out their engages and their gameplay. Wait a minute, it could actually be... So who's going to play that second full tank? Probably Zuyu, right? And that would put KTY on the Junkrat, and then we would still have a Lethal on his hero choice left. So it makes sense. I was confused a little bit because normally C is one of those teams that hasn't traditionally been playing a lot of double full tank. But yesterday, for the first time, right, they played this Garrosh ETC, excuse me, and it worked so well. So that seems to be a theme they have discovered and that they're willing to try a little bit more often.
MJ bringing out the Alex Straza for us here, going for a... It's an interesting choice considering against a Garrosh, but it's one of the few supports who can actually follow someone if they get hard engaged on with that Cleansing Flame, outputting herself in danger. She's pretty independent as well with that Dragon Queen once it's active, so Medivh doesn't have to worry about her as much. I don't know, I don't mind it. It's a pretty reasonable pick here, and with the Tyrael as well. As a solo tank, their engage capabilities very much come down to Zeratul and Medivh, but it is still potentially there. They have a lot of actual team fighting, assuming they can keep the enemy there.
Now, Tetra, already, I do like the Alex Straza. I'm totally agreeing with you here, but I think Tyrael may or may not be the best call ever, because there's one thing... Oh, this is...
Kendrick, I think we have to cease and desist for he has risen.
He has risen. The Archlich of Naxxramas has finally found his way into HGC China, and this is what they're trying to do. They're basically trying to make this Kel'Thuzad work against all the odds, against the Medivh burst protection, against the Zeratul, who could hassle and harass him quite a bit. But there's one thing that KT doesn't have to worry about, Tetra, and that is CC. And that was the point I was trying to make. They have no lockdown, really. They have no stuns, no silence, no roots. The only thing they have is stasis. So Kel'Thuzad...
I like it.
Bringing me the chills, quite literally.
I thought you were trying to go into an actual the Kel'Thuzad meme there for a second, and I was about to be very impressed.
I can't do it. Only you have enough knowledge to throw in a couple more titles in there.
Though. Okay. Archlich of Naxxramas, that's the obvious one. Esteemed Lich Lord of the Plague Lance.
Yeah. Hearthstone Enthusiast, that's the one I know.
That's way further down. Commander of the Dread Necropolis. Master and founder of the
Isn't that something with a Burning Legion?
I think so, but formerly of the Council of Six. Creator of the Abomination. Summoner of Archimond the Defiler. I can never remember his tag. We'll do it in a second. A Lethal on that Kel'Thuzad. Wind on Garrosh. 365 on Stukov. KTY on Junkrat. And it's going to be 365 on Stukov. I think I did that one. Oops. Zuyu on Johanna.
Ain't nobody got time for player introductions when we try to get all the titles done for Kel'Thuzad, because he is such a rare sight in professional play.
Okay, Summoner of Archimond the Defiler, Betrayer of Humanity, there's Hearthstone Enthusiast there, and then I think there's one more.
Chat's got our back, look at Twitch chat. They know
everything. God, chat is in there. Don't get bad, everyone. Smart. And yeah, the last one, Major Domo to the Lich King himself, Kale through freaking Zard.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Already, we are bracing ourselves for what could potentially be a very short game if CE is on a roll and makes that Kel'Thuzad shine like a young god. Or it could be a very long game if they make it to the 20s, and then all of a sudden Kel'Thuzad has his late game power spike as well, being able to completely one-shot almost anyone, with the exception of maybe Tyrael then. because of that combo. So really cool to see. Once again, we see the celerity coming in for the Medivh here. Strong protection, actually saving Chicken, who was already in the lurking arm silence here. And the loophole. Let's be a little bit careful. They do have Medivh, and even Medivh, if he lands those Arcane Rifts, can poke him down quite handsomely.
We're seeing sensible reactions to this. Alex Strasser going with the abundance. If one of her allies gets caught, she might as well just overlay circles on top of Kel'Thuzad to keep her team alive. Zeratul keeping himself safe. Shadow Hunter as the level 1 talent, that extra teleport cooldown reduction as he picks up globes, stacking up to a pretty significant amount here. We see yet another fight. So many in this early stage of the game, and so close to killing off Zar. The bombs come in, force of will, but Zar still taken out by KTY. And we see barbed chains coming in for Wind, looking for that vulnerability.
I think any whisper of a hero by RPG would have probably executed Garrosh. That's how low he was on health there. Such a clutch escape by Wind, but what a good one it was. Now, 5 stacks, of course, for Kel'Thuzad. We're going to have to take a closer look at this built-in quest progress here, because it will lower his cooldowns and it will increase his damage as time goes on. He needs 30 stacks. That is the magical number.
30 is the magical number to unlock all of his damage, and it is also the magical number that with his level 1 talent will unlock the 15% vulnerability on those barbed chains. We're seeing the very standard, no strip shields, there are no shields, there's no Phoenix in this game yet, the very standard phylactery as Zar gets a sneaky portal out to dodge that chain of aloof.
Alright, so up to this point, CE in full command of how they rotate. Zar is trying to be a little cheeky. He needs to drop a portal right now, though. Never mind. Can't go there when Garrosh got you, and the silence comes through as well. I was going to say, Zar needs to drop the portal right now. He can't be waiting for too long, because there's so much dislocation. There's so much CC available to really mess with Medivh, and they just take another kill. Lufol is on a killing spree, and Wind once again on that Garrosh. You know what? Here's a little bit of a background story behind the scenes, right? At the Eastern Clash, there was Blossom and I think it was Ballistics, 2 Korean teams, and they were interviewed about the Chinese teams and how they would rate their strength at the moment. They were like, CE is probably the most dangerous team if Wind plays Garrosh. That's how afraid they were of that hero and the player behind him. So up to this point, Wind is really living up to the reputation right there.
Kendrick, Zeratul's being different. Please bring him back to the compound. As we're seeing Zeratul going with Psionic Strength at the level 4 talent here, dealing extra damage to enemy heroes. Increases all damage dealt force by 6 seconds for 3 seconds, stacking up to 30%. So if Zeratul can continue to get stuck on, stay on an enemy, he can deal crazy amounts of damage. This could lead into a Might of Nerazim build.
Yeah. And speaking of stacking and interesting talents, we see a Lufol with the standard go-to phylactery of Kel'Thuzad. So the more Raging Globes he's going to collect, the more he's getting closer towards being able to regenerate life after dropping damaging spells onto the enemy team. And that is really cool. And once you get 10 stacks in total, you also have the ability, if you so desire, to come back to life immediately after falling. That will, of course, empty the phylactery, and then you will have to gain 10 stacks again. Oh, look at Chicken, though.
So close tower. Oh, get outplayed. Zar looking for the gems, but KTY is coming in. Zuyu looking for another kill here. Deny those gems, killing off Zar, and the gems do fall. Wow, CE just completely punishing as Tyrael gets his port denied, has to take a step further back here. But yeah, CE in such a good position here.
That was a nightmare for RPG. Chicken, by the way, on that Zeratul, the hero that he got our attention last year because he was doing so well on that hero, but for now he's in a little bit of trouble. Here come the shields. They miss, unfortunately. Nice juking here by MJ, using the exuberance movement speed that he got from his level 4 to really dodge those chains very handsomely. But yeah, Chicken on the Zeratul used to be such a powerhouse on that hero. Unfortunately, not really yet finding his rhythm in this game, falling to Junkrat, and then Medivh saw trying to salvage the situation here. MJ, by the way, falling to one knockback after the other. Junkrat and Garrosh, what a terrible, terrible duo.
Worth mentioning the fact that Alufal has gone for the much riskier talent at level 7, going for the Chilling Touch. Overall, it adds up to much more damage. You're far more likely to get consistent damage out as it affects your auto attacks and is pretty easy to use, instead of the Glacial Spike, which makes it much more likely that you will land your combo. This requires Alufal to actually be near enemy buildings or to be very accurate with his chain to hit 2 heroes at the same time. This also makes it a little bit harder for him to stack his blights this early in the game. But once again, overall damage-wise, this does come out as stronger.
Alrighty. We see the phylactery completed. Masters of the Cold Dark is not yet there, but Alufal is working on it. He's working on getting as many stacks as possible there. But now Alufal is going to be taken down much harder for the enemy team, right? Because he has that inbuilt self-sustain thanks to abilities hitting. And here goes a perfect combo onto Medivh. Not going all in of it, though, because Alufal realizes, you know what? Medivh has an ability called Will of Force, and Force of Will, sorry. And that will, of course, prevent all the burst damage from KT.
I love how Alufal is controlling his auto attacks. All the single target auto attacks all went onto the tower. Every time that AoE auto attack with spell damage came off cooldown, straight to the minion wave. Just immediately getting the maximum value out of every single attack he was doing.
Alright, more gems being turned in. Here goes KTY with a Rift Tire. He ends up falling as well. Deals a little bit of damage and, most importantly, baits the Turiel into overextending, and he ends up falling as well. Wind avenging his feisty teammate there, and easily it is safe to say that KTY... But what?
But why though? It's mounts up just in time. Alufal trying to go for a Q instead of autoing.
That was a mini portal. A mini portal just to look good, to make Medivh feel at home, and to make him look good on camera by dropping a last-second Raven form. Oh my goodness, that was close. Sao, you can't do that. You can't toy with our nerves like that.
Judgment, Might of the Nerazim, Polybomb, Cleansing Flame, and Commandeer Odin. RPG, they're looking to blow up that Arc Lich, prevent him from getting all of that burst damage.
Catcher, the Judgment is here. Might of the Nerazim as well. They're going full of blow up against KTY. The Polybomb is real, and Wind seems to be the target that they pounce on next. But here comes the disengage. The Flaming Sweep is huge.
Chicken ate a huge amount of hits though. Portal is used, looking for 365 now. Another easy kill, and RPG have come online, looking for another one here. Into the fray, having to be used on Alufal to keep him alive here. He drops a good Death and Decay though, onto Timeless, forcing him to back up a bit. Zeratul busy clearing the lasers. The 4 versus 3, and RPG are crushing it.
Yeah, and that's exactly how you do it. The moment the level 10s came online, you could really see a big boost in momentum and confidence here for RPG. They have the Judgment, they have the Might of the Nerazim, they have the Polybombs available, and even the Cleansing Flame is such a great tool to basically cover a lot of distance just in case your allies are stepping through a Medivh portal and end up being too far away for normal healing. So, RPG, they're showing us that they're still alive. However, they were only able to win a battle. The war is still raging on in favor of CE. If you take a look at the grand scheme of things, right? If you take a look at gems, if you take a look at buildings, they have definitely come to more or better results, CE that is, up to this point.
Yeah, they're still not looking terrible. Master's Touch 13 stacks, but Blight is also getting pretty high up there. Chicken trying to juke his way in with Wormhole, trying to get these turn-ins, while his team also tries in top lane. Stukov will deny this time, using within my reach, as Wind moves in. Consistent denial coming in very effectively. Gelthuzad about to rejoin the team as well, though, making this very difficult to turn in. Zeratul, though, 1-for-1 trade, taking out the Junkrat, but dies to the towers.
I would say worth it this time. Worth it because the team that is currently down 2 levels will definitely get more experience from the kill, and they're also going to have a slightly shorter death timer, right? Although in this case, because Chicken didn't die immediately, it's almost identical. So for now, they took a couple of gems away from CE. They got a little bit more experience, so it was an okay trade. It would have been really marvelous, of course, if Chicken were able to escape there.
Survive. Yeah, Zeratul drops way more gems, though. He had like the largest size of gems, so I think it's 20. Whereas Junkrat dropped like 10, 15 max.
Yeah. So experience-wise, it was okay. Gem-wise, it was a little bit of a disaster for RPG then. But they still have 47 in the bank. More than enough to get their own first turn in at the ready. CE actually had 2 in this game. So they're a little bit ahead in terms of structures. So we saw 18 stacks on the trade of Kel'Thuzad, so he's already on a good way, I would say. Of course, it takes a little longer now because they had to suffer from a setback. RPG also playing a little bit more conservatively at the moment. We see Tyrael going for Law and Order, no holy ground, maximum burst efficiency. That's what they're trying to go for.
Chain Link coming in for Kel'Thuzad. This is the clear direction he's been trying to move this way, knocking two heroes together. As Tyrael getting turned on Force of Will, though. And the chain does not land. Judgment onto Kel'Thuzad, and see you, Lich. He gets the revive, though, coming back. As Zuyu trying to lock down Timeless, not able to do so with that Odin armor. Timeless microing his way back and doing huge amounts of damage to the retreating members of CE.
Yeah, Timeless is holding the line here on the Odin, single-handedly keeping the enemy team at bay. He even baits Garrosh into dropping the combo, but he's more than likely going to make it out alive. The phylactery was used, that's why Alufal is already back in the fray. Now, of course, that means he doesn't have any self-sustain anymore coming from that talent. However, that blow-up combo for RPG definitely seems to get some work done at the moment. The Cleansing Flame was actually used aggressively as well to have additional burst damage onto the Archlich of Naxxramas. So, up to this point, not all things are going too shabbily here for RPG, and CE, they're definitely going to have to fight them with respect now, with more respect. They can't go for anything they want to go for.
The revive on Kel'Thuzad, though, is pretty reasonable here. Chains land. Shadow Fissure gets a big old chunk of damage, and bye-bye Medivh. Master's Touch does not complete. You can see that little cross across the ability on the left.
Whenever you see that little icon next to your portrait when you were just getting blown to pieces, you know that the reset was real, and when you see that as the enemy team, you're like, yes, that's exactly what we wanted to go for. So Alufal, although he was picked on earlier, made up for it, came back strong, retaliated, and redeemed himself.
He's going to be able to get globes back super easy on this map. They're so easy to pick up just due to the rotational ease. He's got Power of Ice Crown now with the cooldown reduction from the Chain Link on level 13. So many chains, so much CC. He is going to be having a much easier time to stack Blight now, and he will get that spell life leech back very soon.
Okay, damage is real onto Tychus, forcing him back, but here comes the reverse attack, the counter-strike, if you will, by RPG. Once again, blowing people up with the Cleansing Flame and the Judgment. And look at the portals. They are here as a gap for Zuyu in trouble. Use the Iron Skin. Stay safe for now. They now have to turn on the Web Beavers.
So this plan of RPG, their plan seems to literally be blow everything at once and get 2 to 3 kills, and it works every single time. The problem is they're losing for the entire rest of the game when they're not doing this. As the game goes on, this will become more and more effective, of course, due to death times. Right now, Kel'Thuzad didn't have enough gems for the revive. We're going to get to see it again. Tigers took so much damage, but Judgment and an immediate Zeratul blow up with the Cleansing Flame, like you said, is easily enough for that kill. And Stukov, just trying to defend with the Flaming Swipe, got himself caught out of position too.
Yeah, and I gotta also give a lot of kudos to Timeless on that Odin, on that Tychus, because he adjusted so well to what the enemy team had. Not only does he gain 25 armor from the Odin innately, but he also took Relentless Soldier at level 7, which causes him to have 25 bonus armor even on top of that if he ends up getting stunned by KT, by Garrosh, so or even Zatanna.
Yeah, it's only physical armor in that case, though. He has Neo Steel plating for the spell armor, which is going to make him a little bit more resistant to the Kel'Thuzad.
So he's got both of it, basically. He got the best of two worlds, and that's definitely going to keep him alive in the battles to come. In CE, they always seem to lose the same targets, right? Alufal on the Kel'Thuzad and Stukov. Those are, of course, the two squishiest members available for RPG to burst on. So they're starting to find their rhythm. They're starting to get a grip onto this game, and that's exactly what they need. If they could take a map of CE here, by the way, that would be a sensation. That would actually be unheard of almost for them, and if they maybe even take the game, that would be something for the books.
So Stukov has gone for Universal Carrier, and I can't help but wonder why. Like, yeah, consistent healing's pretty nice, obviously, but the reduction in healing when you're up against Burst, is that not kind of completely counterproductive to what the entire enemy team is running?
I think I agree with you. I would have certainly not gone for this talent myself. However, that allows him to potentially have the burst healing available all the time, as long as the team members are standing close to each other. A rain of grenades coming in from off-screen, trying to keep the red minions and the web viewers at bay. And see, they don't have to stress out. They don't have to worry about this turning too much, because they still have all 3 forts, so that's going to be a pretty challenging obstacle for RPG to pierce through, but they're using everything they have. Odin has been used already. Timeless doesn't even care about Zuyu being next to him. They're so confident in their team fighting right now after winning multiple battles in the past that they are here to take away as many structures as they can from CE.
Master Warp Blade for Zeratul, even more damage output being added every third basic attack, dealing an extra 125 damage, and it's pretty effective when you're able to lock down heroes like Junkrat, as they're able to kill him. I think they use Judgment for that, but still, it's a kill.
You know what? This is something that CE wasn't expecting, I think. Right now, they're looking a little lost here. They always make those moves where one of the team members is getting caught, one of the team members is getting caught isolatedly here. In RPG, they have found a pattern, I think, in CE's rotations, and they are willing to really capitalize on that. Kel'Thuzad, not fully stacked. Neither is Medivh. 16 stacks on Master's Touch and 24 on Master of the Cold Dark.
Phylactery, though, is back as C looks for that fort, able to pick it up, and they reposition themselves, looking for a chain turn in here via the portal.
Yeah, they should definitely tackle another turn in here, right? 90 gems in the bank, that's definitely more than enough, but they are playing this smartly now, RPG. They realize CE doesn't have enough gems themselves, so they don't have to worry about the turn-in points. 57 out of 65, so they take the mercenary camp, and now they're probably going to try to rotate towards where CE is not at. And guess who's helping in finding out that? That is, of course, Medivh. Are they going for the boss? No. No, don't go for the boss. Go for the safe turn. There we go.
If they do as well, they will get 20 in the Web Weavers. They do not need to risk taking a boss to get that as well. They're already so far ahead that this is going to result in a minimum likely a keep. As we see a Luful getting Judgment. Not everyone's in position this time. They might have just been way too eager. They're going to try and Cleansing Flame this, and it will succeed. A Luful goes down. Are they going to Phylactery? Yes, they are. Kel'Thuzad immediately returns.
Okay. Time to feed again. So... you know, Alufo, although he is the star player normally for CE, and he's definitely a much better assassin than all of us could ever hope to become, unless Wimpy's still watching. I will take that back. Then, you know, he's in a little bit of trouble here. He gets caught all the time, and although it wasn't even the entire team jumping on him this time, even Zuyu may have ended falling here. The consistent slow by Alex Strasser plus Zeratul harass was just too much for him to handle. It's starting to get a little out of hand. 54 seconds actually now for the Johanna Tetra. Without the main tank, I don't even think they can hold this.
Nexus Blades online for Zeratul as well. His damage output has just jumped up massively. Angel of Justice. Tero's going to have Judgment back way quicker now. It might even already be up. The Dragon Queen active. They might try and catch someone here. You can see 365 playing so far back. Here they come with the Web Weaver, with everyone except Johanna alive. Riptire is used here. Good Indomitable to turn this round. This could be the chance. The Polybomb, though, immediately cancels the attempted kill onto C. Yeah. But that much dissuasion looks like it will force RPG to back up.
Oh, and look at the portal duration here. The level 16 talent for Medivh getting all that sweet value. But as you said, Tetra, this was not a Judgment engage onto Garrosh to really make sure he ends up falling. This was merely an engagement to keep the enemy team busy, right? Because the Web Weavers were doing all the real work. Look at that. 3 lanes now destroyed. 3 catapults unleashed for RPG from now on. This is so huge for them.
And level 20, that is Shifting Malice coming in for Kel'Thuzad, giving him a dash. And honestly, that is really good idea. He needs that kind of self-sustain. Might of the Scourge just isn't going to help him here because he's just getting focused down so much. He needs that mobility.
Yeah, normally we're used to seeing either Might of the Scourge, which gives him an heroic ability cooldown reset if it lands on enemy heroes, or we see the Damned return, right, to get a little bit more poke potential here. But look at the clean coordination here by RPG. Chicken and the Teriel here, they're just on point, always jumping on the same target. They don't even need VP. Might of the Nasruddin makes sure that there's so much damage applied onto the squishy backliners anyways. And Zuyu, I think this is game. If Zuyu ends up falling here, they will no longer have anyone to defend except Garrosh. That's not going to be enough. Look at the gap closer here as well. They're just so fast. Game 1 goes over to RPG. Can you believe it?
RPG taking game number 1 versus CE. Turns out Kel'Thuzad still not good at tanking that much damage. Win tries to buy some time from so much crowd control, even the full 5-man Warlords challenge, but he is now gone. That is GG. And RPG take game number 1 versus challenge.
The team that had been sitting at the bottom of the table for such a long time, finally making those moves. And if you look at Q and Nossley, they really can't seem to believe